Hey there! Welcome to the Distracted Librarians podcast. We're your friendly neighborhood bookworms with a penchant for all things pop culture.
Picture this as our digital campfire, where we dive into our latest obsessions, analyze our favorite distractions, and rediscover the joy of reading.
Whether you're a media enthusiast, a book lover, or just need a break from the daily grind, you've come to the right spot.
So kick back, relax, and get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody! On today's episode of the Distracted Librarians, we are going to be talking about Disney movies.
Finally.
Not just Disney movies, but we're going to do 3 movies we loved and 1 that we didn't love. That's the nicest way of saying that, right?
One that missed us culturally.
There we go. Yes. So who wants to start?
I'll start because I have a feeling mine is going to be the first in chronological order.
Oh, well.
Just a guess. So my favorite is Fantasia.
Okay.
So 1940, which I think I didn't realize it was made so early. Mm-hmm. And looking back, I'm like, this is ahead of its time, like by a lot. Just like so many beautiful visuals set to classical music. The other thing that I didn't realize is that when I watched Fantasia as a kid, it started with Peter and the Wolf. Does anyone remember that segment of it?
Yes.
So that wasn't in the original.
Oh.
That was a different, short that was made in 1946 that ended up being added on to, the video distribution.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's not actually part of Fantasia. It's like an extra short added on.
Interesting.
But Peter and the Wolf was also really significant to me because you have this piece of classical music that introduces characters by different instruments. Mm-hmm. One character is the oboe, another character is the clarinet, etc. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a interesting way to experience music and tell a story with music. Mm-hmm. So, and then also, who doesn't love ostriches and hippos?
Right.
And
their tutus. I love
performing
that
a ballet.
Much.
So,
yes.
Just like pure fantasy, as the name suggests. Mm-hmm. I love it. My other favorite is Dumbo. 1941.
Okay.
I had a real love for elephants as a child, so there's that. And there's just a couple of scenes in it, and I haven't actually seen it since I was a child, but what I remember is the mom of Dumbo being separated from her kid and then them reaching through the bars with their trunks and crying.
Yes.
And that is as emotional and impactful a moment you can have as a child.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah,
huge fan of that. And then we have Pete's Dragon, 1977.
Oh, Pete's Dragon.
Animated with live action. Mm-hmm. So that also felt super fresh as a child.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
And I'm sure in the 1970s, maybe that was also a new technique. But every kid wants to believe that a dragon can appear
from a
cave and be your friend, and then they brought that to life.
Yeah, definitely. I know with Dumbo comes with mixed reviews depending on, different, when you saw it. I was born in the 80s, so I saw it at a certain time, and people that have seen it in other generations are like, there's some stuff there that's a little weird or crazy and not necessarily needed for a children's movie.
Should I do a rewatch or no?
Okay, so
this is the other thing, what has actually aged appropriately?
I watched it, like I said, as a child, and then I showed it to my kids. And there were some things that didn't really translate. I remember loving that film, and then my kids' reaction to it was they did not have that strong love for it as I did. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't translate over the time and over period, but
And see, I know I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you the storyline of that movie.
Me either.
Because I didn't watch it regularly as a child.
Okay.
I think I watched it maybe once or twice.
yeah.
And it did not stick.
I mean, I distinctly recall the drunken elephant scene where there's like multicolored elephants and bubbles, and it seems pretty wild actually, but very much like Fantasia, so I can kind of see.
Yeah, only 1 year apart.
Yeah. So
What did your kids think of that scene?
they wanted to know what was going on because they were pretty little.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, children, we will talk about alcohol. No,
Well, it's also
this is what you don't do. But anyway.
in the 1940s. Were these animated films made for kids, or were they made for adults or the family at large?
Probably for the family at large, I would say, because even in other movies from that time, like Pinocchio, there's a drunken scene in Pinocchio, and it's like now we're just making parents happy in a way. Like, oh, there's this thing that's going on, because those kids had no business getting drunk and smoking cigars and all of that. So, yeah. Any other favorites?
I'll talk about mine. Mine are not deep cuts for favorites. They are simply what they are, but for different reasons. So one of the earliest favorites of mine, which I am told was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, which means I saw it when I was 1.
Okay.
I obviously do not remember this, but it was Little Mermaid.
Okay.
That movie had a huge impact on me as a kid. I remember watching it almost every day for a chunk of my life, and every time Kiss the Girl came on, I would stand on my dad's feet and we would dance around the living room.
Aww,
And
so cute.
so I like that movie, and particularly that song have always had a very special place in my heart. And
Sure.
there are movies that I might like the story more, but the emotions attached to that one put it up there on the list.
Totally.
Kingdom Hearts, Little Mermaid levels do damage at some, but that's another story. I am also a book person, and so I have to say Beauty and the Beast
Okay.
because
Yes,
the
that
library.
I had Beauty and the Beast on my list of 3 and then realized I didn't want to steal it from you because you have actual merch.
I loved that movie. I think it was the fact that there could be a brown-haired bookish princess, and that was one of those, like, seeing a character that looks like you is really important, and seeing a character that has like interests like you was very important. And I simply love that movie. And I was deeply upset as I got older and was like, oh, the difference between me and Belle is I cannot wear that much yellow.
Oh my gosh, there's so much yellow.
Because I cannot do yellow. And I absolutely do not like the color yellow. So it's still like, it's wild. But I keep seeing, I guess American Girl has put out a collector's edition Belle doll a while ago. It was like $300. And I was like, no. But they're putting out a play version that is the slightly more reasonable price that, as far as American Girl dolls go, is, it's still expensive, but they're putting out a Belle doll, and I was like, I could get a Belle American Girl doll. So that might happen. And then my last one is my go-to anytime I'm like, I need to put something on the television and I don't know what it's going to be. I will put Hercules on every time. Drew experienced this living with me.
Very openly confirm.
And I honestly, I would love to be able to be like, this is exactly why. And I can't because I don't know why. I just have.
It's a comfort.
It's a good movie. It has so little to do with the actual mythology of any of it. So I can't even be like, I like Greek mythology, so I like this, because it's not. But I like Meg, and I like the story, and I like the music, and it just makes me happy. And that's my thing with Disney stuff is I don't often think too deeply about it. I'm just like, I just want what childhood me saw in it,
Yeah.
for better or for worse.
Sure, sure.
All right, my absolute favorite of all time will always be The Great Mouse Detective. It came out like 3 years before I was born,
I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before, haven't we?
possibly.
Is it
Okay.
animated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
Is it Basil?
yes, Basil of Baker Street. He lives in Sherlock Holmes's house, sort of Tom and Jerry style, in the walls.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think if I've seen this.
I know I've seen it. I can't remember in great detail, though.
The villain is named Professor Radigan. And he is trying, like a con man trying to break into the upper echelon of mouse society. So his, like, big affront is when people call him a rat, which he objectively is.
Okay.
But he lashes out at every single one who tries.
Oh my goodness.
And the banter between Basil and Dawson, the doctor, is absolutely top notch. Professor Radigan is voiced by Vincent Price, which is
Which
incredible.
I love. Yes.
One of his last things, he died early 90s, I think.
Okay.
It's just so funny. And you can see it's the era of Disney that sort of leads into the Renaissance of the 90s, where they're just starting to figure out what that animation style is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
The scene in Big Ben with all the clock gears, revolutionary.
Nice.
It's so good.
Okay, I feel like I'm going to have to make
I'm going to
my
have to
kids
watch this
now.
Yes.
It's like one of these days we're gonna have to just do podcast movie night where we
Oh, yeah.
watch
Yes.
something that we
No,
talked
that'd be
about
great.
all together.
Absolutely.
We've already ruined each other's TBRs enough.
Well, when we did the spooky animated one, I don't know how many times we were just sending each other horrible gifts of
Right.
things. So we could do something that's actually pleasant this time.
A concept.
In terms of a recent favorite, I adore Coco.
Oh, I love Coco too.
It's
It makes
so
me cry
cute.
every
Yep.
time, and it is ridiculous.
Every single time, but it's an interesting story. I like when, like, the recent Disney trend of not really having villains, and instead, the villain is family hierarchy, and the villain is gender roles, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the interesting things that can come of that, where there isn't really a bad guy. It's just a situation that needs to evolve and isn't with the times. But Coco is so much fun. Miguel is a really good character
I love
for it.
and his dog Dante, the street dog.
Yep.
I love Dante.
Drew did not prepare me for Coco when he made me watch it,
Oh boy.
and that was rude.
We're gonna call him out and
It
tell
was
him.
at like 2 a.m.
Oh my goodness. Was everybody sobbing?
Oh yeah,
Just ugly crying on the couch?
Yep.
it was brutal. I was so obsessed with it that I bought it on Amazon streaming video before Disney Plus even existed.
Okay.
And so for a long time, unless I wanted to borrow things from the library, that was like the only Disney movie I had access to. So I watched it a lot.
Oh my goodness. Wow. The music is really great too.
So good.
I love it.
And my last one is the deepest of deep cuts that I didn't realize I could talk about until we got into this room today.
We weren't sure if it was going to be an animated film discussion or if it was okay to go off on the tangents, the non-animated.
So this is the 1995 made-for-TV Escape to Witch Mountain, starring Eric Von Detten of Brink fame and Elizabeth Moss of The Handmaid's Tales and Mad Men.
Wow.
A movie that I've never heard of before.
Oh,
It
I've
is-
heard. I know I've seen it.
It is iconic in how bad it is, but in like such a good way. Like the narrator of it has that like soft, slow drag, like every word I'm saying means something, and you have to find the meaning of it. The twins channel their magic by putting each other's hands together, and a purple light emits from their hands, and then suddenly they have telepathy.
That
It's
seems
so
plausible.
wild.
Yeah.
Like the entire concept of it is alien twins who are beamed down to Earth. who every 7 years have the chance to go back to their home planet. It's nonsense, and it's so good. And it doesn't exist anywhere. I had to go through like back alley websites to get a burnt DVD copy sent to me. Like, it legitimately does not exist anywhere.
That's so crazy.
Adding it to the list, and I might need to borrow it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There we go. There's our movie night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, my favorites. Okay. Return to Oz. I was going through a list of Disney movies and I was like, oh, Return to Oz is on here. I'll absolutely put that down. So Return to Oz, I think I would consider this to be kind of a cult classic in a way because it's a really weird movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You've never seen it? Mm-mm. Okay, well, you should watch it and prepare to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And, well, I mean, I don't know, because I watched it when I was a kid. So, like, sometimes when you watch something as an adult, you just don't really get it. You're just like, okay, this is fine and all, but yeah, Nicole, this is not that great. We've been there. Yes. Killian just showed me a cover of the copy so that we could all see the illustration. So
Nicole, I have questions.
Okay. So first of all, Fairuza Balk is in it
Really?
as a young girl.
Ooh.
And she's amazing, of course. There are a lot of interesting actors that I, of course, cannot pull out of my head right now. The story is that, of course, Dorothy came back from Oz and she hasn't slept in forever. And so her aunt says, we're going to take you to this crazy doctor in town and he's going to try to electrically rearrange your brain so that you can sleep, which is it's a terrifying scene. They're trying to hook her up to this machine and there's people screaming in the background. And then a girl comes and helps her escape because the power goes out at like the last second and they escape and then she wakes up in Oz again. Okay. So then she meets a whole new cast of characters and there's a gnome king who has taken the scarecrow and turned him into an ornament. And there is a pumpkin head character who's kind of goofy, but my daughter loves his voice.
As you're describing this, I have seen this movie.
Yes.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yes.
I have.
Perfectly. Oh, yeah. The scarecrow is a little terrifying. So I took it upon myself to say, I'm going to watch this movie before this episode so that I really have it fresh in my head. This is why you have too many details right now. Showed it to my family, and my kids, like, when it said horror on Disney Plus, I was a little like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't do this. But I'm so glad we did. My kids were not terrified. It is spooky. There's definitely parts of it that I would say could be horror-y. That's not a word. There's a part where Princess Mombi does not have a head, and she's chasing the little girl because she can change her heads. And she has, like, a cabinet of heads that she just goes and gets a head and puts on. It's fantastic. It's so good. Yeah, that part was a little spooky. Anyway, so it's great.
Will it give someone nightmares?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So I feel like this is probably the movie that made me weird.
I
think this
love
could be
that.
it. I mean,
Origin
between
story.
this and Labyrinth, like throw the two together, and that kind of sums up who I am as a person.
Can we make that our next topic?
What?
Things that made us weird.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
I'm not against it.
Okay, all right, on to the next movie. Here we go. My second favorite movie is WALL-E. Well, these are not in any particular order. I love WALL-E.
Big endorsement there, yeah.
He's so sweet, and he loves his other little fancy robot friends so much. And I love a good environmentally apocalyptic film. But there's a hopeful ending, and like, I don't know, there's something about that movie that really makes me happy. Finally, Moana. I just have to put Moana.
Yes. Moana was
I
good.
will never not watch Moana. My kids will watch it, and I'm just like, I got to sit in on this. I will not be on my phone. I will not be doing anything else. I am watching Moana and singing because that's what I do. So, is it anybody else's? You guys like that movie too?
I love it. I have cried. I mean, there's definitely like
Oh, the grandma with the grandma stuff.
Yes.
It's always the grandma stuff. Come on, Disney.
it's so good. Just a sense of like empowerment and destiny, and the music is wonderful, and the visuals are great, like the open ocean and etc. So
Yeah.
no, I think Moana is my favorite to come out in the past like decade. I think.
So
Easily.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. There's nothing I can think of that's wrong with that movie. All right, what do we not like? What do we not love?
Well, we already talked a little bit about mine, Pinocchio.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Okay.
You know, it's I think 1940 it came out, and there are several things that should have stayed in 1940. But also just the horror of it all, the whale scene, the Pleasure Island bit, the circus.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just nightmare on nightmare. And as a kid, I ran screaming from it, I'm sure.
Okay.
I don't have an active memory of this, but it feels very in my character. And I've sought it out a couple of times as an adult on the like idea that I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch all of the Disney movies in order.
Okay.
Like all the animated ones. And so I've rewatched it a couple of times as an adult, and it just misses me every time.
Yeah.
That's another one that I know I watched as a kid, but I don't really remember much of it. I remember a little bit more, but I can't separate what is from the movie and what is just because it's in Kingdom Hearts. It's another one that it did not resonate with me as a kid, so I watched it not often.
Yeah. I mean, I remember loving it when I was a kid, but then showed it to my children, and it was another one like Dumbo where I had some splaining to do because there are just some very odd cultural references and weird things in it that are not great.
Isn't there blackface in that one? Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. But
Yeah.
okay.
Well, they have a little warning at the beginning that says some of the things you may see here or whatever. Yeah.
And I
So-
do respect them for that warning. It's very, we recognize that this is a sign of the times. We are actively choosing not to censor it because that would be hiding away the fact that this is a part of our history.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I respect them for that. But also don't need to personally engage with it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Everyone's looking
Spill,
at me
Killian.
because mine's the controversial one. I wouldn't even necessarily say, you say like pick your least favorite. I don't know. I can't quantify it. But the most controversial movie that I don't like of the Disney lexicon, I don't like Toy Story. Or if I gasps.
You told us that before the episode started, and I already emotionally blocked it out. And now you saying it again is rude.
I don't know. I think it just wasn't it wasn't one that I loved when it came out, and then everybody loved it so much, and I think I like it less because of that.
Yeah.
Because I don't get it.
Yeah.
To me, I had I don't know, all of the toys suddenly being able to be alive and have feelings. That's really hard. That's a really hard thing to deal with as a child. From at least me as a child, it made existing around toys harder for me.
Did you read Velveteen Rabbit?
I did.
Did you like that?
No.
Okay. So I feel like it's similar in theme, and to me it was like this nostalgia to then revisit this other story from when I was even younger, and I thought was very special.
And I will say, I have not seen all of the Toy Story movies. I have seen Toy Story 1 and 2. I honestly don't remember if I've seen 3. I liked Toy Story 2 better.
Okay.
I think I liked Jessie. I think that's what made Toy Story 2 better for me. But I don't know. I am the weird person who doesn't love Toy Story.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it when my kids wanted to watch it. It's not something I'm going to put on purpose. I'm not going to do that to myself, and they don't want to watch it anymore, and that's totally fine. So that was actually one of the movies that I was okay with it kind of not being as popular in my home. So I kind of agree with you, Killian.
I also had a really hard time with like Sid and his destruction of the toys, and like that hurt me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
One of my core emotional memories is the breakdown I had in the theater for Toy Story 3. I don't remember if it was like the summer between high school and college or the summer after college, but whichever one it was just hit at a really where am I going from here moment. Mm-hmm. And I was not prepared for that.
Okay. All right.
I feel like I haven't seen Toy Story 3. Because you're saying that, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen it.
I remember Toy Story 3 being just as emotionally impactful, I think, for those reasons. Yeah. Do I want to watch Toy Story again? No. Did I love it at the time? Yes. But I hear you. I hear you. Not everything lands. One of the things I didn't love, I liked it when I saw it as a kid. It was Cool Runnings. However, it is a live action about a Jamaican bobsled team. And it just is just so, the whole movie is based off of like stereotypes. And
Yes.
not that that's not a bunch of Disney movies, but it's just one of those things where it's very cringy, does not age well. I think I have heard some commentary about Cool Runnings later on that it was just, if you are a Jamaican person, to like see that movie and see how Jamaicans are portrayed, or just like every stereotype portrayed in one movie as a set, that it's sort of tough. So it's one of those things that, again, just like having the disclaimer in front of Disney movies on Disney Plus, we are an evolving society that hopefully we will do things better. But I don't think everything ages well. So
That's true.
that was just one example. Yeah.
All right. Well, my least loved movie was Tarzan. And I know this is another one that may be controversial.
I'll back you up in a second.
So first of all, I wasn't around or would I have cared about Tarzan when I was a young person, so did not see it. I wasn't young anymore. That's the whole thing. And watching it with my kids, I was like, well, this is a fun story. Like, I get the deal about Tarzan and all the thing. I saw the Brendan Fraser movie, so I know the story. However, it is kind of like, I'm sure the movie itself is fine. The story is fine. The music makes me want to go cry somewhere. I cannot listen to that much Phil Collins. I cannot do it. And then my kids are like, let's listen to the Tarzan soundtrack. And I'm like, please, no, I don't ever want to listen to the Tarzan soundtrack. So, yeah, that's really my biggest complaint.
See, and I yes, the story's good, fine, cool. I like the animal characters. I love the soundtrack to that. And it's not just the Phil Collins of it all.
The Phil Collins of it all.
When I was in band in high school and we went to Disney World, one of the things that we did was we played through this Tarzan medley.
Oh, okay.
And they put the audio of us playing it to clips from the movie.
Okay.
And it was very cool.
Yeah.
So again, I have an emotional attachment to it for weird, very individual reasons.
Sure.
So, and I had this conversation like 4 days ago with Lauren at the library. So shout out, Lauren. You're coming up. Tarzan the movie, wonderful. Tarzan the music, wonderful. They don't go together.
Interesting.
You know, every movie, especially of that era in the Disney Renaissance, all of the songs are, you know, sung by the characters and written to move the plot forward or tell us more about the characters. And this feels like a jukebox musical where it's just these songs on top of this movie. And especially for the era that it's in, it's just a complete mismatch for me. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'll enjoy listening to the soundtrack, and I feel like I'd enjoy the movie better if the music wasn't there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
Many thanks to BCTV for their support in recording, editing, and releasing this podcast, and to the Friends of the Library for sponsoring closed captioning on every episode.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up. We'll catch you in the next episode.
The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.